Welcome to theFntruth, where most topics are worth discussing, and I'm the master of none, but I'm a realist. I'm your host, Chris Hurst, aka CH, aka The Truth. Now, these are my views and opinions, so don't sue me. So now, let's go. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Shout out to my people all around. I done met friends in Italy, Spain, St. Martin. Where else have I met friends? All over, wherever I've been. Hello to everybody. This is Chris Hurst for theFntruth. Before I get started, every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I release a video for this theFntruth podcast, and it's on my YouTube channel, which is ChrisHurstProduction. That's all one word, Chris, H-U-R-S-T, production, all one word. And you can find me on Facebook, the theFntruth podcast. That's not one word, that's the theFntruth podcast. Just put that in, you'll find the videos. So now that we got that out the way, today I want to talk about saluting our heroes. This is another episode of Saluting Our Heroes because I did it before, and this is one that I'm going to do on a consistent basis because I feel like there's a lot of heroes that need to be saluted. Today I want to talk about my man Bruce Lee. Now, I don't know who does not know who Bruce Lee is, but if you don't know who Bruce Lee is, Bruce Lee was actually born in San Francisco. Please forgive me for looking down because there's quite a few notes that I had to really get on this man. He was born in San Francisco, November 27th, 1940. He was raised in Hong Kong. And he died at the age of 32 on July 20th, 1973. Now, think about this. This man died at 32 years old. He did so much in 32 years of existence than some of us do in a lifetime. You know what I mean? 32 years old. That's young. That is young. I'm almost 49. So that man has surpassed me in his 32 years of existence than where I am right now at almost 49. But nonetheless, he's a legend to me. So that's why I'm saluting him. Bruce Lee had two children, Brandon and Shannon Lee. And Brandon was an actor as well. I believe, some people know who Brandon Lee is. Now, Bruce Lee was notable for certain movies that include The Big Boss, Game of Death, Enter the Dragon, Fist of Fury, and Way of the Dragon. Now, Way of the Dragon, that's the movie where he fought Chuck Norris in the Roman Coliseum. So anyone who grew up in the 70s and was into, the karate movies, you may not remember the name of that movie, but you will remember that fight scene where Bruce Lee fought Chuck Norris in the Roman Coliseum, and he killed him. I think he broke his neck, but he killed him in the Roman Coliseum. To me, that was one of his. Don't get me wrong, Bruce Lee had a lot of great fight scenes, but that one right there was the one that I remember, where he fought Chuck Norris and beat him in that Roman Coliseum. Now Bruce Lee, interesting enough, he was discriminated upon in Hollywood for being Chinese. So it's crazy when I think about it. It seems like every race, every culture gets discriminated upon in some way, some form or fashion, besides white people. And I love white people, but I don't understand. But it seems like every culture, every race, it doesn't matter, gets discriminated upon. But nonetheless, Bruce Lee had to persevere through that. You know, he was discriminated upon. If you think about it, during that time in Hollywood, I can't think of any other Chinese fighter who came through the ranks and made it in Hollywood. So Bruce Lee was groundbreaking, in my opinion. Bruce Lee was groundbreaking in that sense. So I gotta salute him for that because of what he went through to get his movies on the big screen. Now, he was a star over in Hong Kong, but he was really trying to get his presence known here in America. So, but here's the interesting thing. When he was trying to teach his techniques to people like us and American people, he was forbidden to do that. So, but he said, no, I'm gonna teach it to everyone. And because of that, basically they said, if you don't stop teaching, you know, his technique to regular people besides Chinese people, he had to fight. And so he said, I'm not going to stop. So he actually had a fight. So a lot of people like myself, we heard about this fight, and it's actually a real fight. I saw an interview with his daughter, Shannon Lee. She actually mentioned on Sway in the Morning that her father really, really had a fight. She mentioned the man's name. Forgive me, I can't remember the man's name, so I'm not going to say it. But he really actually had a fight because he had a one of his gyms or studios. I don't know what he called it, but he had one in I believe it was San Francisco, and I think he had one in Oakland. Please forgive me for that. I'm not factual on that, but the fact is he had a fight, and they basically said, if you don't stop teaching your stuff, then you got to fight. So Bruce Lee, according to Shannon Lee, because Shannon Lee says she talked to her mother. She said that her mother was there when the fight actually happened. And she said that her mother was 8 months pregnant with Brandon at the time. So she said that her mother was there when the fight happened. But anyway, Shannon said that the fight only lasts 3 minutes. And she said that the guy that Bruce Lee fought, he was in a bad position. And pretty much, she said that Bruce Lee hit him and chased him around. The guy kept running, and then he got him, and you know he was basically saying, "Do you give up? Do you give up?" And the guy finally said he'd give up. Shannon said that the fight only lasted 3 minutes. So when we see this stuff or hear this stuff, it's factual. Bruce Lee actually had to fight to continue to teach us, you know, the American people or whoever he wanted to teach. So that was true. That was actually factual. But here's the interesting thing about his daughter, Shannon Lee. And shout out to Shannon Lee, because now she's the executive producer for this series that's on Cinemax as we speak, called Warrior. So Shannon Lee, she's in charge of her father's estate, and she and shout out to also Jonathan Tropper. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Jonathan Tropper. He's the creator of Warrior. Well, basically, this is the writings of Bruce Lee. The writings, y'all. So this thing is 50 years in the making. 50 years. Her father wrote this 50 years ago. And now it's actually on Cinemax. And I'm a fan of it. I've been watching it so far. So for those of you who haven't seen it, you got to check out Warrior on Cinemax. You have to check it out. It's awesome. And he wrote it in the 1800s. It starts in like 1878. And it's when the Chinese came over to America and they had their confrontation with the Irishmen. And it's based during that time in the 1800s. And the character, his name is Assam. Please forgive me if I'm destroying the name. But he comes to America to search for his sister, Mei Ling. And that's where it all begins. And I'm talking about action-packed. I'm talking about ass kicking from episode 1. It is an awesome series. So again, shout out to Shannon Lee and Jonathan Tropper for bringing that to the forefront. And like I said, it's amazing because Bruce Lee wrote that over 50 years ago. And now it's actually on Cinemax, and it's called Warrior, so you got to check it out. So I just want to salute one of my heroes, which is Bruce Lee. You are an inspiration, and your legacy lives on. Your daughter's doing a bang-up job, and, you know, I salute you, sir. And again, this is Chris Hurst for the FntruthPodcast, and you can tune in every Monday at 6 p.m. to see an episode of one of my podcasts. All right, y'all, and I'm out. Peace.